Here it is, folks, the most important stimulus news that you've all been waiting for. As I said in my previous videos, there is a ton of developments happening in Congress and Capitol Hill. The Democrats are trying to get stimulus passed, as well as the Republicans, but some senators and some representatives are blocking the stimulus bill from being passed. Because we all know that President Biden does in fact want to send out stimulus checks. He wants to help out the American people in any way he can. That's what he said. So hopefully he'll keep his word this time and send us stimulus checks of $2,000. Millions of people in America, like yourself, need stimulus checks to deal with the rising cost of living, and it's only right for President Biden to do this before the end of the year. So if you guys agree that President Biden has to send out more stimulus checks, then be sure to continue watching this video. Be sure to continue watching this video because we have a ton of news to cover. I only cover the most important stimulus check information, and I want you guys to stay up to date on the most important stimulus news. With the rapid increase in inflation slowing down at least a little bit, the cost of living in the United States is still far higher than it was even a year ago. It has led to several states introducing measures to ease the burden of inflation. This includes tax rebates via income and property tax refunds or the issuing of stimulus checks. So as part of the credits, more low-income parents became fully eligible for the full amount because lawmakers made it refundable. The payments were sent to people roughly between 35 million to 36 million people total. That's depending on the month. A total of more than $93 billion was actually sent out. And critics of this enhanced child tax credit as well as other stimulus measures that Democrats approved early last year argue that they helped spur skyrocketing inflation. And it's the main reason why West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin prevented his party from extending the enhanced credit beyond last year. In addition to beefing up the child tax credit, lawmakers approved a third round of checks last year. This one is worth up to $1,400. The IRS issued more than 175 million third-round payments totaling more than $400 billion through December 31st. Some 8 million people also avoided poverty because of stimulus checks. It just goes to show how important the stimulus checks were, even till this day. Also, lawmakers extended a $300 federal boost to weekly jobless payments and 2 weeks of the unemployment benefits until early 2021. Now, most Republican-led states and governors, and one governed by a Democrat, however, terminated at least one of the programs. That means no stimulus checks now. Nonetheless, as part of the 2020 crisis relief measures, states are now not disenrolling low-income Americans from Medicaid in exchange for receiving additional federal matching funds during this public health emergency. We all know how important it is for President Biden to do something about the stimulus checks and send out Social Security benefits even faster than normal. People need their money and people need stimulus. If you guys agree, then be sure to watch.
But let's start with this idea. We should be voting on this. We shouldn't be talking about it any longer. Let's vote.
Well, if I could just briefly respond before I give the mic to Senator Padilla about voting.
Can I say one thing I forgot? Unanimous consent to submit letters and op-ed to the record for Freedom Works, Council for Citizens Against Government Waste, American for Prosperity, American Tax Reform, and the Cato Institute, as well as an article from the Washington Post.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great news, everybody. Lawmakers have finally started responding to the petition for $2,000 stimulus checks for everybody that is eligible for them. Democrats in the House of Representatives have decided to move forward with this new stimulus proposal. And the IRS has also just announced that many Americans are set to receive a surprise bonus check this tax season. So you want to be sure to stay until the end of this video to find out the most important stimulus check and Social Security information. You guys definitely don't want to miss out on this, everybody. But according to the IRS, taxpayers face major delays for their federal income tax refunds when they incorrectly claimed the recovery rate credit on a 2021 return, after they already received the full amount of the third economic impact payment that was issued last year. The IRS is seeking mistakes in claiming the recovery rebate credit and warns taxpayers that it could take several weeks to resolve some issues. However, everybody, it's important to know that the IRS is not sending out more stimulus money now automatically if you missed out last year. If you qualify, the only way to get the money is to claim the recovery rebate credit by filing a 2021 return. Now here is the list who might want to give the recovery rebate credit a second look just to be sure that you qualify for this check. Now, the IRS put a notice on its website in late January that confirmed that parents of a child born in 2021 did not receive a third stimulus payment for a newborn. Now, you may be eligible to receive up to $1,400 for the child born last year or welcome through adoption or foster care. The recovery rebate credit also can apply if an adult became a qualifying relative in 2021 and was not a qualifying relative in 2019 or 2020. Parents also should pay attention to the rules for claiming the child tax credit, which could further fatten a refund and be worth up to $3,600 per child. Now, remember, all households did not get the same payment, everybody, for stimulus money in 2021. A family of 4 might have qualified for up to $5,600, and a single person could qualify for up to $1,400. $1,400 not getting stimulus money for an extra dependent matters. College graduates and high school graduates who don't go on to college and live on their own might be able to also claim the recovery rebate credit if they qualify based on income and other requirements. But someone who was a dependent in 2020 but was no longer dependent in 2021, such as a 2020 graduate, might claim or qualify for the recovery rebate credit and not realize it. As tax day approaches, the IRS is reminding filers about the most common reasons for why it may take longer than expected to get the refunds. Now, the IRS has repeatedly said most federal refunds are issued within 3 weeks for those who file electronically and choose direct deposit. But now the agency is saying that they're stressing that some tax payments may take longer than 21 days, and taxpayers shouldn't rely on getting a refund by a certain date. And the IRS said that one reason is that some returns have errors or need more review. Millions of people currently qualify for at least one bonus refund check. Officials even said that there are billions of dollars in unclaimed payments right now. These checks can be worth over $1,000 for many of you guys. And according to CNBC News, there is a decent chance that your state is holding money or that other assets belong to you, and the government officials want you to have it. The National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators has said that about 33 million Americans collectively have an estimated $70 billion worth of unclaimed property being held by the state treasury. The types of assets that end up with states range from uncashed checks or rebate checks to inactive brokerage accounts and unpaid life insurance benefits. The average value of each claim is $2,000. Last year, about $4 billion in property tax was returned to the rightful owners. While each state has its own rules that govern the process of claiming the property, you can count on being required to prove that you are the rightful owner. For example, providing documents confirming your identity. States often try to locate people as well, for instance, matching the owner's information to a tax return. And according to officials, state treasuries get new unclaimed property turned over to them every single day. Officials are encouraging people to check their missing money in a national cleaning house for unclaimed assets, and most people are participating in this. The IRS may have some extra money for you, and the tax agency has announced that more than $500 million in outstanding refunds remain unclaimed for the 2019 tax year. The agency estimates that more than 1.5 million taxpayers might have qualified for a refund but did not file a federal income tax return for the 2019 tax year. If you were to do a refund, you must file a federal income tax return to get your money. Things are a little bit different this year. You have more time than usual to claim the 2019 refund. That's because the normal filing deadline to claim refunds is typically around the April tax deadline. But the filing deadline, everybody, for 2019 tax returns wasn't normal at all. It was postponed to July 15th due to the crisis. The IRS estimates the midpoint for the potential unclaimed refunds for 2019 to be $893. That means half of the refunds are more than $893 and half are less. Since mid-2022, politicians have warned Americans and a growing number of tax people to be exact about this. And the IRS has said that it wants to hire new employees using funds from the $80 billion allocated to the Inflation Reduction Act.